A lot of women bought this, but
Oh, God.
it said, "Show me your pitties," and it had a picture of a pit bull.
Oh, God.
I'm not exaggerating.
People, sex sells.
I must have sold like 10,000.
Really? There's a couple disclosures that I have to throw out on this specific podcast. It does relate to Lake County. So yes, even though I'm a licensed real estate agent, you have to keep in mind every real estate agent has a different license per each state. So what I say might not apply to a different state. If you're really curious about your specific state and how things work there, I can always connect you with a real estate agent in that area. But keep in mind, you guys, that this is specifically for Lake County, which I know in the back, like the back of my hand. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Lake County Real Estate with Alyssa Pimentel. Today we have one of my good friends on this episode.
Oh, good friend. I love
Good
that.
friends. Yeah, I would say one of my best friends on this episode. Yeah.
We have become friends.
Yes, absolutely. We have become friends, but he also plays a really important role in this job that I do in real estate. He is my preferred lender. And we'll get into all of that and what that means. But it's Logan Brean with Cross Country Mortgage. I'm going to do a little hand clap for him.
Thank you.
I feel like almost every realtor in Lake County should know who you are because you rank number what? Come on, say it.
So, I mean, it depends, like you're ranked on volume and units. And a lot of people like to rank on volume, but here where we do business, I don't like to do volume because I think our price points are
lower.
Yeah, I mean, obviously comparing to somebody who's in California, it's like they're going to say, oh, I did this in millions, but they could have done 25% of what I did.
In units.
You know what I mean? So
higher.
For me to measure it, it has to be measured in units. And I think I was ranked like third in Lake County, not including like
McHenry and a little Cook.
Well, yeah, but so we don't really include when you see the ranks. We look at like the independent guys,
right?
Because you'll see a bunch of like credit unions on there, but they're getting like HELOC applications,
right?
All these other kind of things all day. So many people bank at these places. They're coming there, so. Like, we don't look at those. There's even an option to filter those out. But as far as like independent guys,
Which
like
you're independent.
I think I ranked number 3, and actually number 2 was Sly,
which is your
my boss.
It's hard to say boss though, right?
Yeah,
because we're independent contractors. You're like your lead.
I look at him as like my mentor, like father figure. Like,
oh, shout out to Sly.
He is a very, very generous guy. Like, he doesn't want anything but
the best for
me, which is awesome to have.
So for those of you who don't know, when we talk about numbers, like that stuff is important. A lot of realtors are going to start watching this and be like, oh my God, Alyssa, here she goes with her numbers. Oh my God, here Logan goes with the numbers. But it's important because it shows credibility. And in this industry, you can't really service somebody if you don't know as much as you know what I mean? Like, it's a hands-on job. You learn as you go. So you have more experience with that. It's not just about numbers. It's about the experience that comes with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think looking at the numbers, it kind of tells a story that, hey, there's a reason why that this person can do that many numbers. And it's a mixture of what I have around me available as far as like the back end, because I'm just one person, right? Like, I'm initially the one, that starts with the client, but you could be the best loan officer in the world, but once they get under contract and they start going through the loan process, if their process is no good,
you're not going to close.
Then I'm no good.
Right.
And that will get exposed after time. If you're sending something to a lender that you're like, wow, this guy is great. And then during the process, you're like, oh my God,
and it happens a lot.
This is not going how I thought it would go. Yeah. So like, I got put into this position, super lucky. Some people you shouldn't say lucky, but I feel like I was lucky. I got in at the right time. It was a very weird situation. And I got placed into this position that Sly, my boss, mentor, was like, look, I'm telling you right now, and you're not going to know this right now because you're new, but you are set up for success.
Yeah.
As long as you listen to me, and you do what I do and you follow what I do, I guarantee you will see success.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't even remember what your question was.
It's all right. So we're gonna backtrack a little bit and explain what it is you do. Like we're already talking numbers and kind of like process. But what Logan does is Logan is the mortgage lender. So on the last video I did, you guys probably learned a little bit about the credit and the process of getting pre-approved prior to shopping for homes. So me as a real estate agent, I'm the girl that hooks you up most likely with the agent because I'm typically the first person that somebody talks to when they want to buy or sell a house or anything that has to do with real estate. But there's more components to this purchasing or selling or anything, refinancing, than just me.
Right.
There's also my lender, right? So if you're not buying cash, you need a person who's going to look at your application, like we talked about, look at your credit, and then potentially approve you or pre-approve you if you're good to go or tell you that you're not good to go. And these are the things that you need to do. And Logan is that guy for me. And I feel like every good real estate agent has their preferred person. Like if you're an agent who just uses all these different lenders, you're probably like your reputation's probably not that great and you don't have somebody that you can call to ask the questions that most buyers want to know. Like, yeah, we can talk about houses and 2 stories and Tudor homes and like Americana style, but really what buyers want to know is about financing. Can I even, like, what does my budget even look like? What's the process? And that's you. That's where you come in. Yeah. And so now to speed that up, we both got in kind of at the same time. We can kind of talk about how we met. Like, yes, you got with Sly, which was a super big blessing to you because he was amazing and is amazing. And he kind of like tutored you and mentored you and still does. Yeah. But we both got in. How did we?
So,
Whitney.
Yeah. And I, at that time when I'm starting, you know, especially having a mentor like, hey, let me just let you know, like, the way that you are going to get business is by networking with agents. And you do a good job. They need to send their client to somebody. It doesn't go the other way around, you know, where a home buyer is like, oh, you know what? I'm ready to buy a home. Let me go get pre-approved.
Right.
When I bought my first house, an agent, you know, and I was in no position to even buy. We were looking, me and my brother, and the agent was like, well, have you guys gotten pre-approved yet? And we're
like, what is that?
Literally.
I thought I just signed a contract. I know how much money I make.
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I had no idea what that meant. And ultimately, at that point in time, I was like self-employed and I wouldn't have qualified. So, you know, I was like, wow, okay, this is a thing. And then, you know, fast forward down the road, and obviously I was ready and a little bit more aware of it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of first-time home buyers,
right? They think,
you know, and they might think once they hear that the best place to go is their bank, and then you know that's where you come in and say how much you trust me and know, why I did why.
And the reason why I trust you is because we've done so many together. So we started working together in 2019, right? Yep. So I also got started in 2019.
And I had my eye on you already.
Did you?
You didn't know. Yeah, like I was like,
are we 2 minutes in? Can I cuss? No,
I saw, okay, this girl's new.
Yeah.
And I actually think I saw you out somewhere one night.
Really?
I still to this day.
Don't say what I did that night. Whatever you talking about.
No. It was nothing crazy.
I was a wild one.
It was at a bar somewhere.
Oh,
and I was
God.
like, I think that's her. And I was like, I'm not going to go bother her right now. But then the way that we actually started working together was way better than something like that.
Because when I first got licensed, and I think when a lot of agents first get licensed, because so much business, like the lenders were, let me slow down. My tongue is too big for my mouth. Because the lenders were relying on the real estate agents. When you first become a licensed realtor and you put it out there, these lenders are like vultures.
Oh, yeah.
I was getting them like from every corner. Alyssa, I can help you. And I know you're going to do amazing things. And I see you out here hustling. And I'm like, I don't want that. Whoever I'm going to choose as my like primary lender, I want to have a relationship with. I want to be able to say that they're my friend, invite them to my house. And I just wasn't getting that.
Well, you need that connection.
Vibe. And you need that connection. I wasn't getting that vibe from anybody. And then I was working with one of my high school friends. Actually, she's a middle school friend, Whitney. And I've known Whitney since all the way back then. And she was working with a different agent at the time, called me. She's like, I see you're hustling. I want to work with you now. This is who I'm using as a lender. She already came with you. Like, you guys were already attached. She already knew you. And I'm like, she's like, you're going to love him. Like, you're going to love him. You're going to use him from now on. This is going to be your lender because you're just absolutely going to adore him. And I was like, okay, at this point, I've been burned by so many lenders who have dropped the ball, right? So I'm like, okay, we'll see. And then we did her transaction together. And I think you were like, okay, this is my opportunity to like work with Alyssa for real, for real.
Yeah.
And then we started working and we've done, God, hundreds since then. We've helped hundreds of home buyers since then.
Hundreds.
Easily. And then you also have your relationships with other agents too.
Yeah.
But I know for me and you, like, and I've closed some with other lenders because maybe people wanted to use them or whatever.
Yeah. And you can't, you know.
I can't just say you have to use Logan.
Right. Right. And some, and, you know, I think some people think like, I know you know this too, and sometimes I have to explain it before I even go that far. Like if I'm referring them to somebody, they think maybe if you are doing that, that you get something
I don't get
extra.
anything.
You don't get anything
from you.
except knowing that I will take care of your client.
Right, exactly.
And that's the biggest thing.
There's no back end like commission. That's actually a kickback.
Right.
Super illegal, by the way. Super illegal.
And I mean, I've heard stories of that
these
happening.
lenders are out here. This industry can be real crazy.
But it's not,
you and I both know.
It's not worth it.
No, it's not worth it. But these lenders get so desperate for the business because they're relying on these agents that they're like, I'll kick you back a little something on the. You and I have never done that because we like to do things nice and clean. Our licenses are too valuable to us. Our business, our reputation is too valuable to us. But what we do have is we have a friendship. That has grown from that, which I'm so grateful for. So thank you.
Yes,
Logan, Logan, then I started my own team. So after that, we started doing all the business together. I started my own team. You switched companies. And then with my team, you know, I try to get them to understand how you work and you've been there for them. And Logan hosts homebuyer classes with me, which are always, in my opinion, really good.
I mean, every time somebody asks me how many people were there, they're surprised.
Yeah. Because homebuyer classes, like if you're not in this industry, you wouldn't really know, but people try to do them all the time. And really the amount of people that come is low. But for us, because I think we mesh so well together, it's always fun. And there's always at least 20 people. I think it's also except for one time because of summer. Yeah. And I think it's also because you know literally everyone, you know. Apparently. And you have a big following. I think it's more you, not me. That, you know, they like to come see you too and learn from you. And everyone's always liked, I've never had a complaint about you, which is awesome. And it's also awesome that every time we have one that I feel like we do such a good job of kind of explaining everything that every time we've had one, we have had people. Like 80% of the people that come end up turning into home buyers within the first year. Yeah, they either put in an application and I say, hey, here's what you need to do. They put in an application and I'll never forget your neighbors. Yes, shout out Rob and Alex. Yes. I will never forget that because they were terrified. They came to the homebuyer seminar because they wanted to learn, and these homebuyer seminars that we do are specifically for first-time homebuyers. I would say we do one every 6 months, maybe every 8 or 9 months. We don't do them that often, but when we do, it's lit. Yeah. It is lit. And they came, they were freaking out. They're like, we don't know if we're going to be approved. I mean, that's the thing that you have to think. What I took away from that is I'm like, how many people out there are terrified thinking there's no way that, and they were the complete opposite. They were super ready to go. I'm like, you guys qualify easily. Yeah. Easily. But they didn't know until they came and they talked to us and they learned because they were probably freaking themselves out looking at everything on Twitter and I was going to say MySpace. I was about to age myself. TikTok and all that stuff. And then, so you got them pre-approved, great buyers, and now they're my neighbors. Yeah. But I think there's such an importance of us doing that class. And the reason why so many people come is because somebody told them. Right. And then they realized, hey, that's how my friend bought this house. And Alyssa and Logan know what they're doing. Yeah. And it's been fun. Now we're 5 years in? No way. Yeah. So I started in late of 2019. Same. Like August. I think that was I got my first loan in August of 2019, and let me tell you, and I'm sorry, the client that I helped, she was a grade school friend of mine. I had no idea what I was doing. Same with my first transaction. Because I came into this business with
no.
What did you do before this?
So before this, I had my own internet t-shirt business where I was creating t-shirts. It was like this whole thing where I started doing it as a joke, and
what was on the t-shirt?
just like funny stuff,
Like memes?
like funny sayings or whatever. Nothing like
No booties?
I wasn't trying to booties.
Booties. Was there booties? Andrew wears stuff like that.
Well, believe it or not, the most successful shirt I ever sold is the stupidest thing ever. But it said a lot of women bought this, but it said "Show me your pitties," and it had a picture of a pit bull.
Oh God!
I'm not exaggerating.
People, sex sells.
I must have sold like 10,000.
Really? Damn.
Yes.
So this was like no small feat.
So no, it wasn't. And I have a friend, one of my best friends, that he started. He's very he's always been into like investing. He owned his own restaurant, and he saw that, and he was like, "Hey man, like I think you got something maybe going here. Like you're doing it on this small level, but let me invest in you and buy all this equipment."
Shoot.
And so he owned a restaurant, and he would come over. At the time I was living at my parents' house. And so this is a long time ago. So he would come over before he would start at the restaurant and help me do all these t-shirts. And we were, it started to become a little impressive as far as like, wow, we're doing pretty good. But after time, as technology got better, they made it very easy for anybody to make a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And so now,
Vistaprint,
you're having stay-at-home moms or whoever it may be that, they're like, I can make some t-shirts and sell them. And they wouldn't, some people wouldn't care if they made $2 on a shirt. It's just like, I don't need the money. And that kind of hurt the rest of like people who were trying to do it to actually make a living. And I'm not going to lie, like I hated it. Like
You're not passionate
I
about
did
it.
everything from ordering the t-shirts to printing the t-shirts, sending them out, everything. And I think it was too much. I was doing it the wrong way. And so after that, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. If you want me to get into the story of how I started this.
Yeah, sure.
So I was still doing that. And so I owned a home. I think I bought it in 2013. And at that time, I had bought it with my girlfriend at that time. Needless to say, things didn't work out, and thank God they didn't.
Shout out Annie. We love Annie.
Yes. Thank God that led me into a whole different life. Different life.
Yeah, that works in mysterious ways.
And so Sly knew her. And so that's how we originally got our mortgage. Well, when we split up, we had to refinance. I was going to keep the house, pay her out what she needed to be paid out, so we had to go back to Sly. So at the end of this, back then, refinances, you're going there. You don't, it's not as serious now. Like you can sign, mobile notaries and all that. But we were all there. And after it was all done, I was walking out, and he said, hey man, he just kind of asking me how I was doing. And I'm like, okay, I'm okay. I'm thinking about taking on more responsibility. I maybe want to take something else. And I was kind of getting at like
buying another property or something?
No, like getting into this world.
Oh, okay.
So I asked him about becoming a real estate agent.
Most people do. That's the first thing they think of.
And he said, how about if I take you to lunch with one of the agents that he worked with? Well, for whatever reason, that never happened. And then I saw him at a party, mutual friend, and he asked me about it again. And I was like, yeah, I still think about it all the time. I think I'd be good at it. And he said, well, what about doing what I do? Mortgages. And I'm like, I don't really know exactly because, like I just got my mortgage through him. I didn't know.
You don't know the process.
And
I'm thinking, a realtor.
I'm thinking like, what does he do all day? Like just input data in a computer?
Right.
Like, I don't know. So I'm like, okay, let's meet and talk about it. So I met with him. We talked about it. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be completely honest. Once he told me how much money he had made, I said, sign me up.
Yeah, it was like the Wolf of Wall Street where the guy's like, show me the check.
I said, sign me up right now. And he said,
You got to go get licensed.
No, he's like, you don't want to talk about this anymore? I said, no.
No, I've heard enough.
I said,
I've heard enough.
I said, sign me up. And, the number that he had told me that he made, I'm like, in my head, like thinking, there's no way I could do that,
Yeah.
But if I could do half or even,
I'll still be straight. Yeah.
I would be making more than I'm doing,
And you hate what you're doing.
working my butt off on these T-shirts that I don't even really like what I'm doing.
Right.
So I went in and talked to him. He's like, look, I'll pay for everything to get you licensed, this and that. So we did that. And my first year, I just kind of reached out to everybody I knew, any agent, just,
friends and family.
Yeah.
Rates were coming down.
Rates were coming down. That's where the part where
That's where we blew up.
That's where I say I got lucky.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't have picked a better time frame to start.
Let me just say,
One out of a million.
I got to sidetrack a little bit because I think what you're talking, I think it's important for people to hear lender stories. And the reason why is because people don't even know what they do. They only know this. They only know the real estate side. So, I mean, I get it all the time, at least 3 times a week. Alyssa, I want to be a realtor. And I'm like, okay, that's great. I will support anybody and everything. You know that. Like, God has a place and time for everybody, and what's yours is yours. And that's fine. Right. Like, I never get super competitive about somebody who wants to start this. Mm-hmm. But it hurts me that people don't know that there's more than just real estate. And the reason why is because as real estate agents, we have to market ourselves so much, right?
Yeah.
The other people, the home inspectors, are not marketing themselves as much because they're all relying on us, the realtors. So it hurts me when people don't realize that there is a really good living to be made. Real estate's not for everybody. You and I both know that, especially being an agent, right? And it's a job that you have to go out every single day. I leave my house. I'm gone for hours on edge all the time. And I think that if somebody would have told me a long time ago what a lender does and how they live and how the income can be there too, I probably would have opted for that. And I think it's sad that people don't know that lending is an option to do in this industry and that there is a good amount of money to be made if you play it right, which you already kind of had that like history of running your own business. So it kind of just like eased in, but like more severe.
Yeah. And I think you just have to be, you have to be yourself.
Yeah. People want to be this like, I'm buying jets and walking out of Maybachs.
It's like there's, again, set the record straight. Like, I don't care what anybody else says, but as a lender, we get 99% of our business from you, from an agent. Yeah. Because anybody who wants to buy a house is going to go to you first.
Right.
Technically, it should be the other way around, right? But it's not. Right. They go to you.
Because people don't know because they're uneducated, which is something we start with. Yeah.
So, you have to go. How would you have known about me? Like, yes, you did because we were going to be put on a deal together. It was just a coincidence. Mm-hmm. But I said, hey, why don't we go out to lunch so I could talk,
And you asked me, and I think that's a lot of things that lenders don't do. You were like, I want to be your preferred lender.
Yeah.
Like you set that standard.
Well, I don't want anything less. I mean, like, yes, you could say, oh, I'm going to work with you, this, that, and the other. But the other thing is like, and I'm not trying, like, I don't ever want to think anyone that I'm bragging.
Do it.
But look,
no, I'm just kidding.
But
I do it all the time.
I feel
you're just stating facts.
There has not been times in my life that I was like there was always something like, I don't know if I like this. Like,
you've never felt that.
I am more confident about what I do than anything I've ever done. Like, I would be like, I'm the best.
Right.
And yes, there's a lot of good lenders, but I think very highly of myself in this job. Right. And it makes me feel good because there wasn't times like that for me.
Especially because you weren't in your destiny. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're not where you're supposed to be, it feels very uncomfortable. Yeah. Right? Like me, I was like, I know that there's something more. And I think that's where, like, whether you have faith or not, or whatever you believe, I think if you just sit back and look back and you're like, wow, there's got to be something bigger out there, because how it played out for you, and now you're sitting and living in your destiny, how it played out for me, and I'm happy to do what I do, just like you are. And I think when it comes to career choices, and in this real estate industry, so many people want to be in it. I think, like, you almost have to be planted here. Like it's, yes, you have to work hard and do all those things, but it has to be meant for you because it is such a hard industry. Just like, video is a hard, all those ones that are really making money, well, it's so easy to get ate up and chewed out. So you have to be, it's like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say.
I know what you're trying to say.
You got to be meant to be here. You know what I mean?
What I always said to you and I say to everybody is, it's as simple. You either have it
or you don't.
And
you either put in the work or you don't.
What that it is, it's hard to explain, but you either have it or you don't. Right.
Because we're 100% commission based.
100%.
100%. If we do not sell as realtors or lenders, we do not get paid. And a lot of people get discouraged about that when they get into it. They think, aha, I'm here. I'm going to have that lifestyle that I'm seeing on TV. But you and I both know those bills are not getting paid unless we sell something. You don't get paid just for opening an application. I don't get paid just for opening a door. You better close both of those files.
I don't know how this happened for me because like I again,
it's meant to be.
I just feel like I got lucky. I had success early. You know, in my first year, I didn't know what I was doing. Half the second year, I didn't know what I was doing. But in my second, so 2019, I started August. I had a couple loans, right? In 2020, I didn't know this because this is my first time. This is my first full year.
Yep.
But Sly, mainly he is what I can compare to. And he said, do you realize like what you did this year?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, And I remember this one time that I was so excited because I made the President's Club at that time I was at Finance of America. And I was like, I think this is a big deal. I was like,
because you don't know. You didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember posting they made like a graphic for me or whatever. And I posted it in this mortgage group that I follow, just kind of saying like, hey, this is my first year. The comments were like, no, seriously. I had this one lady arguing with me.
Yeah.
She said that's not possible.
You bought it. I had people my first year.
She asked me.
She must be showing her tits. Literally, show me your pitties. They thought I was showing my titties.
She asked me. She was like writing back to me, and at some point I just didn't respond. I'm like, this is stupid. But she was like, how much are you paying your realtors? And I'm like,
kickbacks.
Yeah, and I'm like, actually at that point in time, I hadn't even spent a marketing dollar yet.
Yeah.
And I just think that, I think there was some luck there. But I took it very serious.
You put the work in.
I didn't know what I was doing really. So I went to the office every day and sat right next to Sly. Now, once COVID happened, it was a little more, we couldn't be in the office. But
all you could do was work though.
Him and I
couldn't be anywhere else.
He'll tell you, him and I were on the phone all the time. And then after kind of work hours, which then it was like 8, 9 o'clock because then you started getting refinances and it was just a crazy business. But we would talk like every night, and because I still wanted to learn from him.
Yeah.
Because I know you could tell when someone is a great person and they're genuinely trying to help. And I knew that. And I wanted,
you don't find it a lot.
I wanted to take in any information I could from him. So I think that was a lot of it that I took it very serious.
Yeah.
Now, during this time, I was still doing the t-shirts for a little bit. And so like the first maybe few months of 2020 and at one point, I told him, I said, you know what? I'm going to be done with that. And as soon as I stopped that.
And you pour it all the way into it. I know. And that's something like I tell people, they just expect it to fall in their lap in this industry. And it won't. You have to put in the work. You have to. You and I both know. We started in 2019. We both got very lucky to do it at that specific time. Something worked in our favor because at that specific time, the market went insane, right? Interest rates dropped. I mean, I was closing 5 a week, and thank God I still am in a sense. But then people saw that, and then people really wanted to get into the industry because now it was so easy to close. It was so easy to close. You could just have your license and a deal would come to you. You didn't really have to work for it.
It's not like that right now.
It's not like that right now. Right now, you really are showing if you're good at this or not. But we've been blessed to be able to have, I guess, those closings to be able to hold us over with, our sphere of who we have there.
And because we had so many, I guess, you get that experience, and now you're
set for life.
Your name is a little bit out there, and so that's where I talk about the luck thing, because if I was starting right now, it would be very difficult.
If you're ready to explore the Lake County real estate scene, whether you're a local or considering making this your home, hit that subscribe button and join us on Lake County Real Estate, all things real estate with Alyssa Pimentel.